Well, that's simple. First, obviously, I got the greatest score ever, and obviously Michael Jordan. Um, I mean, I don't think nobody's going to argue that on who's going to be the greatest. Then obviously I got Kobe Bryant. Um, I mean, this guy, I've obviously been in the same draft class with him, and just seeing his ability to score the basketball was just like Michael and did it in all three facets. So that's my guy. And then Larry Bird is three. I mean, a lot of people may wonder why I picked Larry Bird, but Larry Bird was an unbelievable scorer. Just go through the film, look back, look at his career numbers, look at the stats, look at the efficiency and the way he scored from the 3 and the 2-point line, and obviously the free throw line. Just one of the greatest scores. And then I had to put AI just because, I mean, his size, I mean, we may not never see it again. A guy his size to have that type of ability to score the basketball. So, and, you know, playing against AI and seeing him do it with 6'3", 6'4" guys guarding him, is something special to see. So I got AI for, and then we got to put Wilt Chamberlain in there. I mean, obviously, you know, the numbers speak for itself for Wilt. So that's my top five of all time. Then you can start to, you know, I know a lot of people may think LeBron because obviously he got the scoring title. LeBron's probably 6 or 7. I'm trying to think of another guy we got to put in there, but LeBron's probably you know, 6 right behind this list right here for me.
All right. You got any initial reactions or thoughts on it?
I went a completely different route. I didn't put any of the older guys, well, minus Jordan, on my situation. Wilt Chamberlain, I hear it, but I also feel like we've seen so many pure, just incredible scorers since him that I don't know if having him on the top 5 anymore even is it's historically accurate. I just don't even know if it's something that is even fair at this point. Like it's no different than how I feel when he is in someone's top 5 of players of all time. Like we have seen so much happen since then that I feel like if someone's got to move, like Wilt, like I don't even have footage of that 100-point game. How do I know what actually happened? I'm just kidding. But like, I'm just kidding. But like for me, we've seen so much since then that he's not in my top 5. Larry, I'm not mad at the Larry Bird one. Yeah, I don't have him in my top 5. I had him right outside of it just because of, again, how much we have seen since then. There are guys that I put in that situation, in that position before I even come to Larry Bird. That's not taking him out of the top 10 at all. But when we talk top 5, my list looks a little bit different.
Yeah. And I'm with you on the Wilt one. I mean, Antoine, honest question, though. Do you think Wilt would have been the dominant scorer he was across all eras? Do you think he's a guy that would have fit in this era as well? Or do you think defenses would have been able to, to shut him down, you'd say?
He couldn't, probably not in this era now because the big men here are so skilled. So he wouldn't have the advantage, and you got some bigger guys. So, I mean, with foul trouble and stuff like that. So it may have been a little different. But it's all, we always can argue what was the rules, how was the rules going to be played, how was the game going to be played, was it physical, was it going to be hand checking, was it not, all those things. I just think when you look at his numbers and you start talking about 100 points and 70s and 80s, I mean, we gotta pay homage to that. We're not going to see nobody else. We saw guys have huge nights, but we've never seen guys have as many huge nights as him. So I'm going to give respect to that, and I'm not going to downplay that at all. That's why I put Wilt in there. I mean, them numbers are unbelievable, some of the games that he had. And you can even attack on rebounds in that too as well. Yeah. He had some huge numbers. I know it's different. He probably only had 6 or 7 teams that was in the league at that time. It was totally different. But, I mean, you got to give respect when respect is due.
I'm trying to tell you because it's still unfathomable to me, right, that he averaged 50 points per game throughout an entire season.
Allegedly.
I don't
Just
care.
Kidding.
I don't care
I'm
what
kidding.
era. I don't care what era you're in. Like this is how I had to put it in perspective, Antoine. Like this dude was averaging more points than you could minutes in a game. That's crazy. It's only 48 minutes in a game.
Allegedly.
You play the whole game, he averaging more points. He averaging more points than minutes minutes played in the game.
Where's the film, Corey? Where's the film?
They got film of him,
Run
the
the
70s,
film. I need the film. I ain't buying it. Not buying it. Where's the footage?
I need that 60s film.
I need to see the record books.
Yeah.
Where's the scoreboard? Where's the scorekeeping? Where's the bookkeeping?
What was his shot?
We got records of everything else, but we ain't got records of that.
What was his signature, Antoine? Because I know, like,
I'm totally kidding, by the way. Before people come to me, I'm totally kidding.
What was Wilt's bag, though?
just big. I mean, if you look at the footage that we do get to see, it's a lot of it's against Bill Russell. You know what I mean? But I think his size is big. Being able to finish around the basket. I mean, those guys really stayed around the basket. You're talking about 65, 70% field goal percentage those guys did. So I think that's why they was able to do it. And the size. I mean, it just wasn't guys big enough to guard him or to guard those guys of the size. Well, I mean, Bill wasn't a scorer. Bill was more of a defender and blocking shots and taking things away from the basket. But Wilt, could nobody stop him down there? I mean, we wasn't a lot of big guys that really could body him, force him away from the basket. And those guys, you got to think, they never shot threes back then. They didn't play outside their game.
Yeah.
They didn't go out like we got big men now that handle the basketball, shoot threes, and do all these other things. So it's really possible if you stay around the basket and you shoot 65, 70% from the field and you touching the ball, every time down the court, you can put up the numbers that Wilt did. You got to put that in perspective, too. You got to think about that. Yeah. These guys ain't leaving from the inside. They wasn't shooting threes. They wasn't dribbling. Everything was right around the basket.
Yep, right in the paint.
I got to say this. This is a wild stat. So the same year he averaged 50 points is when he did the 100. 100 points. This is how he started off the season. This is game 1. 48 points. Game 2, 57 points. 53 on game 3. 55 on game 4. The 3 games before he got to 100, 67, 65, 61. Like, what is this? I don't understand what how are you getting 180 points in 3 games?
Man amongst boys. In film that I have seen on Wilt Chamberlain, the dude was fast too, bro.
Yeah.
Like he was transitioning.
He was super athletic for sure.
In a couple strides, he was already on the other side of the court, and that's how he got a lot of his points too. That he's just beating in transition. He's beating everybody down the court, and he's just punching it. All right, 2 more points. All right, next possession, 2 more points. Same thing. He was just running the floor. He was just outrunning everybody. That's another thing. 7-footers that we see nowadays, they weren't even. Some are athletic, some aren't. You get different type of bigs nowadays. He was an athletic one, so he. It makes sense as to why he put up the numbers he did.
By the way, he's playing the entire game. These are 48-minute games.
No, that's what I'm saying. He averaged like 48 points.
Well, there was only 8 teams in the league, so.
Yeah.
And I can imagine his teammates.
Just want to put that, just putting that out there. There were only 8 other teams that
so
7 other teams that he had to.
Weeks.
Yeah, it's a little bit less strain on your body to play 7 teams throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, you kind of get the gist of it halfway through the season, who you can beat up.
You kind of figure out, the situation maybe a couple months in. So.
That's too funny. But no, I hear
no
you.
shade, just say.
But aside from Will, I think everybody on your list, Antoine. I can't really argue any of them. Larry Bird, I think he could play now. Of course.
Larry Bird would kill now.
Yeah, he would kill now. He really would. Like I would love to see Larry.
He was
Bird
ahead
play
of his time for sure.
Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. You can't go wrong with that list. But yeah, Wilt Chamberlain is he's a I wouldn't say a wild card, but you'll always have people on 2 sides of it. But I got respect for him. Wilt Chamberlain.
You can put some other guys in there, Tracy McGrady, Carmelo Anthony, different guys, Bernard King. It's some guys that, you can add if you want to fight with the Wilt comment and take them out the 5th slot. You could probably bump in there. Some other great scores.
But no, I like it though. But all right, Ashley, it's your turn. See
all right.
What you got.
So my list is a little bit more modern, but just like Antoine, I went number 1 with the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Listen, pure scorer, though. Ultimate blend of just athleticism and skill. His jumper was picture perfect. Number 2 had to go Kobe Bryant. I believe he's the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan since Michael Jordan. It is like Michael Jordan 2.0. Just also the mentality of both of those guys. I know that doesn't really play a part when we're talking about pure scorers, but there just wasn't a shot really on that court that they couldn't find a way to hit at some point, at some time. It's just magic. I had to go with Kevin Durant on my list. He's nearly 7 feet tall, and he possesses the same skill set almost. Many of the similar skills to Kobe Bryant, T-Mac, Larry Bird, but he does it at 7 feet tall. I don't think we will ever see a 7-footer or a damn near 7-footer do what Kevin Durant does. He just moves so smoothly. He shoots so well. He can finish at the rim. He's also capable of hitting shots in a center's face, which is absolutely just, again, unbelievable for somebody of his size, the way he's able to move. I had to go with my guy, Carmelo Anthony. Listen, Carmelo Anthony, I know a lot of people will knock his defensive abilities and whatnot, but when it comes to his scoring skills, I don't think that we have seen a player quite like him, at least not in New York basketball, for a very long time and across the league. I mean, he was a solid rebounder at times, didn't really pass or play defense that much, but one of the best scorers in the NBA for nearly a decade. I don't think anybody can argue that. I mean, he was also extremely clutch. Just one of my all-time favorites. And then for the last one, I had to go with a combination of Allen Iverson and James Harden because I couldn't give that last spot to one or the other. Allen Iverson, I mean, he led the league in scoring and shots attempted 4 times each. So just put that into perspective. Wasn't the biggest guy either. He was barely 6 feet. Just ultimate gunner. Incredible player. Just the way that he was able to just bob and weave out of defenses. Also unguardable one-on-one. I think one of the best one-on-one players we've ever seen. I put him up there with Kyrie Irving when it comes to one-on-one. His signature crossover move. I mean, come on. And then also tying with him when it comes to prime James Harden. I don't think that we have seen a scorer quite like him in the NBA. I mean, truly a gifted passer. His isolation scoring skills he emphasizes isolation scoring skills over distributing these days. But I mean, listen, when it comes to that signature step back, when he was at his best doing it, there was nobody better. I just think that when it comes to James Harden, he was arguably one of the most unguardable players in the league at the time. And I think you got to give respect when respect's due. He may not be the same player he once was, but when he was prime James Harden, there was nobody better. So that's my top 5.
Oof. The ISO God.
The ISO God.
Yeah.
Well, can I dissect that a little bit?
Go ahead.
Just a little bit. I can't put Harden in there. I mean, this is why. But Harden played under different rules.
Okay.
You couldn't hand check. But you couldn't hand check.
True.
So that's what benefited Harden. If you watch Harden, he got to the free throw line. You know, it was a time in his career where he was getting to the free throw line 12, 15 times a game because of the hand check rule. So when I think about scores, I'm just thinking about guys that can just get you buckets. I don't put Harden in that category. He's a great scorer. I'm not going to take that away from him. But when I talk about the elite, the top 5, I'm not going to Harden for me a bucket. I'm not going to a guy who needs 20 dribbles to get where he got to go. That's just me. As a basketball guy who plays the game, that's just me. I'm not going Harden to give me a bucket.
A big part of his game was baiting officials into giving him fouls. I agree with that. But I also can't fault a player for playing in a certain era. I mean, I can't take away that James Harden on isolation is one of the best we've ever seen do it. I mean, I hear what you're saying in terms of a big part of his game is getting to that line and forcing his way to the line, which is why I think we have seen his game fall off a little bit after they've changed the rules. But I think that taking that outside of it, his ability to purely score that basketball was however you want to phrase it, an ultimate talent. And he was one of the best at doing it. I don't know if the era in which he played in and the rules and the things that were allowed and weren't allowed is enough to take away from that because it's there.
I just think it's a unique style in the way he scored, and the rules benefited his game, and he took full advantage of it. Yeah. But when I think about I couldn't even he's not better than T-Mac at scoring the basketball. So it's a multiple guys that I could really think of. I really put my hand to think of that are better scorers than James Harden. James Harden benefited from the rule changes and made himself an unbelievable scorer. I'm not saying that. But great scorers don't have to pound it 15 times. We don't watch great scorers dribble the ball 15, 16, 17 times to get where they got to go. Score. And that's just my complaint with Harden being in the top 5. I'm not saying he's not a great player. Not saying he's not a great scorer. But when we talk about top 5, you have to separate it a little bit. You can't. This is like top 5 of all time. He ain't in my all-time list.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Hey, well, listen, I wanted to let you speak because I think I got something for you, Antoine, because James Harden is definitely on my top 5 of all time. So okay. I don't know. We ready to get into it, or did you have more comments about Ashley's top 5?
No,
I mean, he gonna save his James Harden ones for you because you got him too. So go ahead.
We're going to get into it on James Harden for my top 5. All right, so yeah, go ahead and throw my top 5 up there. So,
I like T-Mac.
So, of course, I got Michael Jordan at number 1. There's no denying that. We got 10 scoring titles. I mean, he had a year where he averaged 37 points per game, practically 40 points per game. In a more modern era, I understand that was 87. It might have been a little early relative to where we are now, but I think there was some good competitive basketball playing. But, like, why am I even trying to justify my Michael Jordan number 1? It's Michael Jordan. But I got Kevin Durant at number 2, y'all. I got Kevin Durant over Kobe, and this is why I have Kevin Durant over Kobe. For some of the reasons that you had Kevin Durant on your list, Ashley, right? Like, he's a guy, he's 7 foot tall, doing what all of these guards on most of our lists are doing, right? He's 7 feet tall. The shot, what's the point? What I'm trying to say?
Apex.
Yeah, just where the ball is getting released. The release point of his shot is pretty unguardable. But look at these stats. I'm a stat guy. From Kevin Durant's first season in the NBA, he already was averaging 20 points. He averaged 20 points as a rookie. And then for the next 2 years, he increased his points per game by 5. By his third year, he was already averaging 30 points. We're talking about a Kevin Durant in year 3, 1 year in college, young guy. So, and what I want to point out too is that we're in year 14, 15 of KD's career. He's still averaging 30 points. So he was doing it at the beginning of his career. He's doing it at the end of his career. And we just watch KD and watch how he scores. He can score any way that he wants to. And this is also why I put him in front of Kobe Bryant, because I think Kobe Bryant is obviously one of the greatest scorers of all time as well. But KD's true shooting percentage over his career, 61%. Kobe Bryant is at 55% from a career true shooting percentage. So that's why I have KD at number 2. I have Kobe Bryant at number 3. Kobe Bryant, he was the closest thing to Jordan, but I also think, all respect to Kobe Bryant, I think he had a little bit of a chuck in him. You know what I'm saying? I think he was just a volume shooter. He was a really...
Oh, you're not going to disrespect Kobe Bryant on this platform in front of me.
But he was.
We're not about to
Kobe's
do
one of
this.
my favorites. He's one of my favorites of all time. But he was a volume shooter, which is why, in my opinion, I mean, that. But look, career shooting percentage of 61 as opposed to 55. It kind of is what's the word?
Indicative.
There we go.
We're not about to do this.
But yeah,
I'm gonna let you finish. But
yeah, he's top 3.
Go ahead.
He's top 3. So Kobe Bryant at 3, and here we go, James Harden. Look, I hear what you were saying. I hear what you're saying, Antoine, that he was a guy, and I figured this was gonna come up when we were having this conversation, that he was a guy that knew how to draw the foul. But I think that was an art. There's nobody else that was able to do it like James Harden. He was able to do it with his ball handling ability and his ability to finish at the rim. Guys knew that he was able to finish at the rim, and that's why they was crashing so hard on James Harden. I mean, in my opinion, I think that's a skill. And then we can't ignore the fact that this dude went 32 straight games with 30-plus points in one season. And this is a modern era. Like, we talking about there's scorers galore. There's nobody else doing that. In prime Houston James Harden, 32 straight games with 30 points. And then in 2018, he averaged 36 points. That was similar to like the point I made about Michael Jordan. I think that's just crazy to me. So I think James Harden, the ISO god, when he was in his prime, he pretty much patented the step back. Everybody does step backs now. They realized how much space you can create. Not to say that the step back wasn't in basketball before then, but James Harden, he really trademarked that. So I got James Harden at 4, and then I got T-Mac, Tracy McGrady. I mean, it was just hard for me, because what I was also thinking was, all right, you got guys like Kareem, right? One of the greatest scorers of all time. He had his hook shot. I think that was a guy, he just stuck to what worked and just did it very, efficiently and at a high clip. So, but if there was another Kareem out there that, I think there was ways of shutting him down, and centers alike. I think that's why I stayed away really from centers and power forwards, because I think these guards, right, and a guy like T-Mac, I mean, Kobe said it himself, he was a guy that just gave him a lot of trouble throughout his career. And we talking about one of the greatest perimeter locks of all time, and Kobe Bryant. For him to throw Tracy McGrady out there, I mean, I think that was just some validation there. But yeah, I got T-Mac at 5, yo.
So before Twan dumps on your James Harden take like he did mine, I gotta disagree with you with Kobe Bryant and having him below Kevin Durant. I mean, he is the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan, therefore he's 2. But also his offensive bag is deeper, or was deeper, than Kevin Durant's. That's not taking away from KD, but I don't think that you can even bring in volume shooting or lack thereof or excessiveness of volume shoot into this conversation. If you saw Kobe Bryant play, which I know you did, I mean, he did things on the court that we've only ever seen Jordan do, and then some. I don't know if you can go ahead and put that after Kevin Durant. What Kevin Durant is extremely impressive because of his size. We've never seen someone of his size do that before, and also not taking away what he's able to do with the basketball. One of the smoothest scorers I've ever seen, which is why he was on my list, top 3. I just don't know if I would put him above Kobe Bryant. I just feel like it's always Jordan 1, Kobe 2. That's my mindset on that.
So I have a question, I guess, before you chime in, Antoine. What can Kobe do that KD can't?
I feel like Kobe was more elusive with the basketball in terms of the way he bobbed in and out of defenders. I don't think that KD really has that in his bag, and he doesn't have to. He's big. Kobe was, I feel like their jump shots, I would say they both have really pretty jump shots. So I'm not going to say that one's better than the other. They were different. But I just feel like Kobe's ball handling, Kobe's just in motionness was just different than KD's. It was smoother than KD's. And again, not taking away from Kevin Durant, because again, he's in my top 3. I just think if I had to rank them, it's always Kobe over KD. And if I don't know the stat off the top of my head, I could be wrong, but I think Kobe had more wins over Kevin Durant whenever they faced each other.
That's
like
possible.
I think that his efficiency rating was higher than Kevin Durant's whenever they faced each other. I just feel like if I'm comparing the two, for me, it's Kobe, KD. But I'm not mad at your list. I'm just saying, for me, it's Kobe, KD.
I think we're distracted.
His footwork was better.
I mean, in my opinion,
It's tight. It's tight.
It's tight.
It's
in my opinion, I think Kobe is just more athletic than KD. You know what I'm
and
saying?
17 by Kevin Durant. It's very close.
But you got to
even.
think too, though. Kevin Durant's 7 feet, so he has to get a lot of credit being a 7-footer.
No, of course. And I started off by saying that, of course.
Yeah, that's what makes Kevin Durant unique. But Kevin Durant, top scorers, it's Kobe all day long.
For sure.
It's not an argument. I understand where Kevin Durant sticks out at and his ability to be 7 feet and handle the basketball and shoot the jump shot is unbelievable. Kobe's obviously more athletic, better post-up game. You know, Kobe worked from the block. Arguably, depending on how you want to say it, I would say Kobe's mid-range game was a little bit better because Kobe's was a mid-range game guy than KD. KD's a better three-point shooter.
Better on the defensive end.
Both of them are great free throw shooters. You know, percentage points probably gave KD the advantage at the free throw line. But so those things that's different. But Kobe Bryant's definitely a better scorer. I think we get mesmerized by KD being 7 feet and being able to do some of the things that he's capable of doing. So I think that's what makes it special right there for KD. That's what we kind of look at. But when you talk about just pure scores, Kobe Bryant, second best ever. Easy.
Is there a reason that you guys just completely left the GOAT off, the real GOAT?
The real GOAT? Who the real GOAT?
Come on, bro.
Don't say Paul George.
No, LeBron James.
Oh.
Is there a reason none of you even try?
When it comes to the names that we're naming, I don't think that LeBron is in that conversation.
Just on creating a shot, you're saying?
No, I'm talking about top scores. Even though LeBron, obviously his numbers are up there, and probably if you go by numbers, he's a top 5 scorer. But I think when you look at pure scores, and if you know the game of basketball, I'm gonna get a bucket. It's gonna be I'm gonna go with these guys first. They're just ultimately great one-on-one players.
Yeah, right.
LeBron affects the game from the triple-double aspect a little bit more than these guys does, if not better than all of them, where he's able to pass, rebound, and do other things on the floor that kind of separates itself, that makes LeBron James a little bit different. But just pure scores, we're talking about guys that just go get buckets and put it in the basket on any given night. So that's what I think this conversation, when you're talking about top 5 scores, LeBron's right there. He could be 6, 7, 8, depending. Some guys that's left off this list, they can fit into that.
Antoine, I'm surprised you left yourself off your list, man. What's up?
Top scores?
Yeah, man. What's up, man?
Man, let me see. I'm in the top 25.
Okay. All right.
Top 25.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad you're giving yourself some credit. All right.
No, I'm always giving myself credit. Nobody really can do what I did.
Exactly.
Talk, Antoine. Talk
that stuff.
I can shoot the 3, go off the dribble. I had handle. I mean, I'm in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There you go.